I made a decision to surrender my life to God 35 years ago. That was the best decision I made, but the journey to see God was not. I grew up in South Africa in an affluent society with not a care in the world. Our street became very famous when President Mandela bought a house just a couple of streets down. My backyard was paradise. We had a swimming pool, trampoline, tennis court, and by the age of 21, I was driving a sports Fiat, one of the 7 imported into the country. Before I was even 30, I'd lived in Geneva, Switzerland, Belgium, Argentina, and Brazil, working for the extended family's diamond business. In 1980, I came here to America, enrolled my daughter in a Montessori school, and met a disciple from this church, Margie Email. I liked her. She was great. She was outgoing. She had a personality. She was trustworthy. But when she told me that God had transformed her, I just nodded my head, but I wanted nothing to do with that. After all, I'd grown up that God really was for the poor, for the weak, for the masses, certainly not for me. And that was the end of that. For 4 years, I kind of dabbled, came occasionally to church, came to our Bible talk. But there was something in my heart, something missing. But like everyone else, I didn't let it bother me. Then a few years later, the hope that I had in work, in the diamond trade, in my marriage of 17 years, collapsed. It was at that point that desperation, sadness, wondering what to do with my life entered. And in my pride, I thought, well, I'll give God a chance. Let's see. What an arrogant statement, right? After 38 years, I never even considered God. And here I was hoping he would do something. Well, God in his gentleness and his love for me allowed me to study with Lisa Bender. And I found the pearl of great price and became a member here on April the 17th, 1987. But to close, I have to add that Satan is always there, always trying to win you back. Even while I was writing my sharing, I was invited to an intimate dinner party with 8 very influential women to a mansion from a couple that actually owned 8 Marriott hotels around the world. So her mansion was bar none. We sat there sipping wine and watching the boats go by on the Intercoastal, talking about flying to Colorado in her private jet for a weekend. And you know, within minutes, I wanted to be back there. I did. I was no longer an observer. I wanted to be there, something that hadn't happened in decades. And I woke up the next morning just very sad because God had saved me 35 years ago. He had walked with me for 35 years, giving me the desires of my heart. There you go. Gave me a beautiful husband. I was able to work in the business again. He didn't take everything away from me to punish me. He gave me life to the full again. And here I was, ungrateful. I work in the business, and you know, the pearl of great value. If a pearl is not taken care of and you don't protect it, it not only loses its luster, it actually dies. And I didn't want to have that to happen to me. So God always gives you a way out, right? I'm going to study the Bible this afternoon with Jennifer, and I hope to help her see what an amazing life walking with God is. And Jim and I will volunteer at the summit, and we'll be surrounded by our people. And this will remind me that this walk to eternity and to God is worth it. And all I can say is, get behind me, Satan.